Alrighty. So with that, welcome to Stallion, episode 1 of the podcast. Got an old friend of mine, Zach Buckey, who is currently at Stanford, is on the football team. So with that, Zach, tell us about yourself.
What's up, guys? First off, Jay Carr, thanks for having me. It's awesome to be starting on this new venture with you. I'm excited to see what you got to do. But currently a defensive lineman at Stanford, trying to figure things out for the next upcoming season and just trying to help the car get back on track next year. So, yeah, that's about it.
Love it. All right, so let's start off. A lot of people might not know this, but freshman, sophomore year of high school, you weren't the size that you were. So what was the process of going through recruiting and growing into your own body?
Well, I mean, first off, I started playing football. It wasn't really like it was a possible avenue for me to take into the next level. I was sure you remember probably about 5'10", 155 pounds as a freshman, playing corner safety, I think something along that lines. And eventually I found a weight room, which thankfully, coaches and such were like, you know what, you're not a great corner, but you're great off the ball, you're quick. We think you can be a great edge rusher, defensive lineman. So kind of got in the lab after that, just really tried to work hard and put on weight, put on muscle. First off, that's the most important part, is not putting on just fat and then ending up somewhere else. But I was very fortunate to have great people around me, great mentors, great friends, great coaches, and they kind of got me on the track that I am now. So I'm really thankful to them and everything they've done.
Love it. So with that, how big was the jump from high school to college with your conditioning and, your everyday routine in the weight room and your diet? How big of not only as a jump as an athlete, but growing up, how difficult was that for you to kind of grow into?
Well, I mean, it's a huge question because, you're in high school and, we both played high school football. Like, football's life. Like, you think football's like your whole day revolves around football, but then you get to college and your whole day actually does revolve around football. It starts out, in high school, it's an after school sport. I mean, you show up before, you go to your lift, then you go to school, then you go to school, then you go to practice after. Everyone goes to the same practice field, the same school, it's the same schedule. And then once you get to college, it's not a game anymore. It's not an after school activity. It's a business. Like, these people are making millions upon millions of dollars based on your success, your performance, your production. People are feeding their families like based off of how well you perform on a field. So that's like a very crucial and important part, I feel like, especially in the jump. I mean, that's just kind of like the outside part. In addition, like, the speed of the game is ridiculous in college. You get into high school, the oldest kids you play are 18 years old. College, they range about 25, 26 in the upper end. So you're playing with grown men. You're playing with men that are older than dudes in the NFL right now. So you have to get used to those bigger bodies running around, hitting, just doing all that stuff you did in high school. It's bigger, faster, stronger. So that was like a big adjustment for me. Conditioning wise, it's just bigger, faster, stronger. So that was a big thing for me. It was just getting used to like this new mindset of football runs my life now. So that was my biggest adjustment.
With that, all right, so I love that's a great answer. You were always smart growing up, always the smart kid. Stanford, does it live up to the academics? Is it just as tough as they make it sound, or what's the deal with that?
Well, I was always kind of the nerd growing up. I'm still the nerd now. I mean, I read books when I was in first grade. I read books before I go to bed still. Like, it's still the nerdy part of me. But I would say Stanford in its own way is a very unique opportunity academically. It's not the rigorous academy you might think of, when you think Stanford. Like, we're still kids for the most part. We're still very normal. I mean, obviously you'll have your very try-hard students that will, have that sort of that school all day mindset. But for most of us, we just try to balance school and football as best as we can. Same as in high school. There's just a little more emphasis on both. So I would say the difficulty is just a little bit harder, but I mean, your whole day revolves around school now, school and football. So it's a little more of like a time management thing than it is like a rigor thing, in my opinion.
Did you struggle with time management at all when you first got there, or was that just kind of something that you kind of rolled in with?
I say I struggled probably a little bit. The thing is what's great about football, it's bad and good. It's a blessing and a curse. When you show up as a freshman, it's your lift starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. If you're not there by 7:30, whole team's running. So like, you get real fast. Like, I show up for crap on time, because if you don't, not only are you getting punished, but the whole team's getting punished. And when you got, 25-year-old future first round draft picks yelling at you, like, you're obviously going to make a change. So that's kind of a big thing for me, is that we were all really incorporated early on. Like, you show up early, you show up an hour early, you show up 2 hours early, you get rolled out before practice, you stretch before practice, because if not, guys are getting punished, guys are running. So that was like a big thing for me, is it really kind of they hit the ground running, which is great in my opinion.
So with the team aspect, take us inside of for last year. What does the person from the outside perspective getting ready for a big game? How different is that? Like, how could you explain that to the everyday person that they don't see when it's off the camera?
I mean, just like as a college football game in general.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really crazy. I mean, when you're in high school, like you and I know, like you have your like a scout film, like they'll get your coach will get on huddle and you'll get 5 grainy clips of another team, in some scrimmage, and that's your scouting film. Whereas in college, you're pulling out plays from these coaches. These coaches, like I remember we were playing an unnamed team. My brother now plays for, and we were pulling out offensive coordinator film from like 5 years ago when he was at North Texas, because it was like, this is something they might run against us possibly. And we had to know that. So it's like, it goes from like game prepping to really game planning. Like, by the end of the week, every guy on their offensive line is a defensive lineman. You're going to know every offensive lineman. You're going to know his number. You're going to know where he's from. You're going to know everything about him. And you're going to know like what moves against him. So it's really kind of cool to see how it's a full blown routine to it. Like there's a full blown matter at hand, which I really enjoy because it's detective work at 1,000 degrees.
Love it. So you said you mentioned the no name school that your brother committed to, USC. Favorite team growing up. How's that going to be the dynamic within your family? 2 Pac-12 powerhouses. What did you think about his commitment?
Well, I love my brother and I'm really happy for him. Like I told him in the process, I'd love for you to come to Stanford, but if you find a place that's a better fit for you, because not every school is a fit for every person. So me personally, it was never really a doubt my fit was going to be Stanford. And then when I got offered, I checked it out. I got recruited. It confirmed that was a fit for me. Grant, just really was really methodical in his process, and he ultimately decided that he was going to go elsewhere. So I'm really happy for him. I can't wait to beat them in the Coliseum in a few years, but really happy for him. I really wish him the best for his career.
With that, the whole NIL, the whole college football changing. USC has Lincoln Riley now, and they're coming in. Do you think that players now just from that effect are going to schools just based off their image and likeness to get paid, or they're going there still just because they grew up kind of, man, like with you, Stanford, you said you wanted to play football at Stanford since preschool together. So do you think the mindset is changing at all towards like, okay, I'm just going here just to get my money and then leave right after I'm allowed to?
That's a great question. And, I think there are players like that. And I think, honestly, you look at it the same way you kind of look at the NFL. I mean, Tom Brady is, without a doubt, the greatest football player of our generation, yet he's not the highest paid. So, I mean, he wants to keep a team together. He wants to play in a place where he wants to be. So I feel like that's kind of a factor in college. I mean, obviously, NIL is super young, so we're not going to see really. In 10 years, it might very well be kind of like a quasi-professional league where guys are signing contracts for 5-10 million routinely, and they're going to places that offer the best money. So, I mean, that's a free market economy, I guess. It's perfectly legal now, but I still think you will see guys go places because that's where they want to go. I mean, at the end of the day, I would not trade $5 million right now for a Stanford degree. I mean, that just might sound stupid to someone, but just in my opinion, I would rather have the degree, which is not maybe the best answer for everyone, but for me, that's how I see it. So that's just how I see the league. Obviously, it could change, and obviously, there's a lot of people that think a lot differently than I do.
Yeah, I've had a pretty interesting opinion on it. I don't think it's ruining the game at all, but I think you're going to have your powerhouses, and I don't think the powerhouses are ever going to go away with that.
Oh, totally. I think really if NIL did anything, it kind of like the teams at the really top right now, it kind of like enshrine those teams at the top because they're the hottest product at a time when money's coming out. But obviously, I think NIL will help because it's going to help like smaller schools as well that maybe don't have the, the prestige, but they have the money. Like, I mean, I don't want to insinuate anything, but like Jackson State, I feel like with Coach Sanders, they have a great opportunity to like market themselves in a way that's a little different than it was, 30 years ago. Like other FCS schools, they might have the opportunity if they have enough, support from maybe other, I don't want to say boosters, that's legal, but other avenues that could support them. They could obviously make a bigger run, get bigger talent.
Yeah. So do you think like smaller, okay, let's take a smaller Pac-12 school, bottom Colorado, and Colorado was this, got last place, I believe, in the Pac-12 South. Do you think their program is kind of getting hurt by the whole NIL deal, unlike a school with USC, who has money coming in constantly. So do you think
Right.
that's changed the aspect of, okay, you have the Pac-12, but is that could merge into like more of a super conference maybe with these teams getting these players from these calibers of schools?
Right. I mean, obviously it's a tough situation for anyone to call right now. I mean, if you would have like a year ago, like $100,000 was crazy NIL money, and now we have allegedly guys signing for 8-9 million plus. So there's really no way to tell like if these schools are going to end up benefiting or if these schools are going to end up, you know, being hurt by this. I mean, there might be an investigation in 5 years that shuts these collectives down, and we're back to square one. So it's really not. I don't really know if it's too early to call like this is going to do one program or this is going to boost the program up. It's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out in the next few years with Mark Emmett resigning and the rest of the NCAA's changes. But I'm really intrigued to see how it will play out in the college football scale because so many teams could create a super conference like you're describing.
Yeah. I just think it's funny because you were the first Barstool athlete, or first or second Barstool athlete.
Yeah, I think that's number two.
That's I was just I was thinking of that today. I found that I remember when that happened. So I mean, Coach Shaw, he's been there how many years now?
I think he's been the head coach for 10, 11. I think this is his 11th year.
So I mean, when a coach stays at a school like that for that long, obviously there's a reason. How's your like relationship been with him since you've been there?
Coach Shaw, I mean, like, obviously I don't want to just be a talking horse to death, but I mean, his legacy and his reputation precedes him, and everything they say about him is true. I mean, he is a great guy. He's, I don't want to sound cliche, but I'm going to. I mean, he's a family man. He's a father figure to all of us. And that's what I really respect because he respects us all as men and not just as, a product. Like to him, we're not just machines, paying his salary, paying for the university. Like we're actually men that he feels like he has been tasked with the lead. And I think he does an amazing job of that. So I have the utmost respect and thankfulness for Coach Shaw and everything he's done for us.
So what is like this upcoming season? What are your individual goals? And then going off of that, like what's like the team goal kind of, if you can say that?
Well, I feel like everyone in the program is really bent on winning a Rose Bowl and getting back to the Pac-12 championship. I mean, that's just the I feel like we all feel like the standard we set for ourselves is, be the best team we can be, no matter the excuses, no matter the cost. And I feel like that's just really as a team what we're looking for. And myself, I just want to do anything I can to help the team succeed because we all want Stanford football to get back to, what it used to be. And we all want to be a part of that. So I'm willing to do whatever I can. And I know my teammates feel the same, that we just want to get Stanford football back to a level of national prominence that we need to be at.
Well, so your daddy played in the NFL. Is that an influence to you to get to that level one day, or do you just kind of want to go on your own path and see after you're done with Stanford if you want to take that option to go to the NFL or use your degree because it's one of the smartest people I know. You can go whatever and do what you want with that.
Yeah, if there's one thing my dad's taught me, it's that don't bank your life on going to the NFL. I mean, he had a great career there, but he also had, I think, 6 concussions in 3 months, something insane and arguably unsafe. So if he's taught me anything, it's that don't count on the NFL as the pinnacle of your life. And don't count on the NFL as, the only goal you have. That way, if you fall short, you have nothing else. I mean, granted, my goal is the NFL, and I really hope that everyone on my team says the same thing because that's what we strive to be, the best players we can be and the best players in the world play in the league. But I certainly am not going to, lose it if I don't make it. That's my biggest goal. I'm going to work hard every day to reach it. But also I went to Stanford for bigger things in the league. So I'm hoping if I don't end up, falling into the league, if I'm not blessed enough to take that path in my life, I get to find something else very rewarding.
So you mentioned concussions. What do you think now with the game evolving with the helmets and stuff? Do you feel safer now and that's more of a less of a risk for you, or are you taking that into factor as well as you're going through your career at Stanford?
Tough one. I think every day you get in your car and it's an extremely dangerous thing you do. I mean, more people die in car crashes than plane crashes, but you still every day get in your car because that's what you need to do. And to get my way, to pay my way through one of the most expensive and best schools in the world, I have to play football. So I just kind of see that as, football is my job. It has risks. I've been blessed to not have a concussion yet, knock on wood, but I see it as a byproduct of the job that we all have to do. And that's, to build a championship football team. So obviously, I think the new technology, back in my dad's day when they were wearing styrofoam helmets, it was, I mean, not the level we have today. We all have the best equipment, top of the line. And, you don't necessarily think about it, but, it is, concussions are a real thing. My friends got concussions last year and it happens, but it's part of football. It's part of the game. Like you have to deal with it. It's not the best in the world, but, nothing's perfect. So concussions are nothing's perfect.
All right, Ron. So, what was your favorite venue you played at last year that you traveled to and you were just like, besides the farm, whatever, I've been there before. What was like the one stadium you walked into and you were just like, holy shit, like this is insane?
You're going to love this answer, but the Coliseum. I mean, you walk in there and you got all your LA people, doing actually, I don't want myself on video doing that, but yeah, they're doing their little peace sign to the rest of everyone, and they yell lovely names at you as you run through the tunnel, and
the best.
Yeah, really, really welcoming fan base, and they got the giant horse galloping around, so it's a cool place. I mean, it's an iconic stadium, it's an iconic atmosphere, but it was nice to walk out of there with the dub, so that made it the best. That made it the best venue.
So what game are you looking forward to the most this year? Like you have that one. I know it's one game at a time. I mean, I golf one shot at a time.
Right, one shot at a time, yeah.
But what's that one game you have circled on the calendar and everybody's kind of itching their skin for it?
It's hard to pick one. I mean, obviously week 2 at USC's coming up here. Lincoln Riley's first Pac-12 game. Would love to. I'm excited season. It's going to be a thrill.
Wait 1 sec. You kind of cut out right there. Can you repeat that one right there? The whole screen froze. What's the one game? Do you want to shake up Lincoln Riley's interest into the Pac-12? That's the big one for you.
I mean, that's obviously I think the ones everyone's talking about right now. But I'm just excited for the season. I'm excited. That's like you said, you got to get each shot at a time, each game at a time. So I'm really excited for that.
Another Bakersfield born kid on your team, Ben Urosic, had a great season. How's your relationship with him? Even coming from same hometown but different high schools, have you grown to be pretty good friends with him, or what's the deal?
Yeah. Ben's a great guy. He's going to be a very high draft pick. I bet you this next year. He's phenomenal talent. He's a great dude. He's been a great teammate. But I'm really excited to see what Ben has in store for 2023 because he's going to do great things. I have no doubt.
So wrapping up kind of towards the end, what's your advice for younger athletes that may have been in your situation, who are the 5'10", 155-pound safety as a freshman, then turning into what you turned into?
If I could say anything, it's play as many sports as you want, growing up, maybe in high school, start to specialize. But when you're young, don't ever let a coach say you need to play basketball, 365 days a year and not do anything else. Don't let a coach say you got to play baseball every month and, there's no time for other sports. Like, play as many sports as you want, be an athlete. Like, don't let anyone be like, oh, you're at third grade. Oh, you're going to be a lineman your whole life. So I want you to gain 100 pounds and get ready. Like, no, be athletic, be an athlete, and just listen to people you trust. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who are, vying to win your attention, to give you advice, but listen to people that you can trust and that prove that they can be trusted. That's my biggest advice.
Love it. So with Zach, Zach, thank you for coming on the podcast. Hope to see you soon. And, wish nothing for the best for you this week or this coming season. But, at the end, fight on. But thank you for this, and I hope to talk to you soon, Zach.
Of course. Thanks for your time, Jake Carr. Good luck with the podcast.